hasten to express my appreciation of the honor I have been bestowed to officiate the opening of this maiden agricultural Indaba. Accordingly, allow me to welcome you all to this important gathering and assure you that this is not time wasted, but really time invested. This is a noble cause which derives its significance from the obtaining El Nino phenomenon that was gripped the country since November last year, resulting in a significantly reduced yields as well as failing or failed agricultural productivity and production among many other rain-fed agricultural planted areas. So ladies and gentlemen, in October 2023, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration confirmed that an El Nino event would occur in Zimbabwe between October 2023 up to around March 2024. And the Meteorological Service Department forecast for the same period indicated that the southern regions of the country would be mostly affected. The Matabeleland, Midlands, Masvingo, and Manicaland. However, we realized that all the provinces were actually affected. In fact, we hear that Zimbabwe was the epicenter of this El Nino as we compare with other countries in the southern region. The major trait of the El Nino event has been the delayed onset of rainfall and prolonged dry spells, which has affected agricultural production, both crop and animal. I believe all of us can bear witness to this trait. For the 2023-24 agricultural season, Crop and Livestock Service confirmed that most crops have been written off and livestock is already succumbing to water and food shortage. Government and independent assessments and research show that the situation is also compounded by lack of knowledge of good agricultural practices, lack of access to financial services by farmers, poor networking, as well as not acting on extension service advice, among other issues. Ladies and gentlemen, since the onset of the El Nino phenomenon, the government has been coming up with the strategies to activate drought mitigation policies, the institutional frameworks, and rolling out of interventions to proactively address the negative impacts of drought across the country. I wish to acknowledge and thank the Food and Agriculture Organization, World Food Programme, the private sector, and all organizations in the food security and livelihood cluster for partnering with the government in ensuring that these interventions are planned and implemented accordingly. As a ministry, we value the whole of government approach, but not only government. In fact, we value the whole of society approach. Everyone should get involved in the implementation of these interventions. It is imperative for me to mention that farmers in this region, agroecological regions 4 and 5, remain government's top priority in terms of the structural and non-structural drought mitigation measures, including the rehabilitation of irrigation schemes, construction of dams for irrigation purposes, input support, training and extension services. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to today's event, I am pleased by the organizers of this Indaba, who are primarily smallholder farmers like most of you, and most importantly, great participation of women. Inspired by the Vision 2030 and the National Development Strategy 1, and of course, their own lived life experiences, they decided to partner with the government and call on everyone to put hands on the deck to address the El Nino challenge we are all facing. This is a good platform for farmers to voice their concerns, while service providers and development partners are proffering some solutions through their different products and services. The government, likewise, through department representatives, will explain the policy and legislative and structural frameworks, current interventions, and those on the cards. It is my hope that everyone will leave this place satisfied. It is you who should be able to come up with specific ways of how do we implement and how do we make these helpful. So I will go through some 14 proposed measures which would want you as farmers to say, in this one, let us do it this way. This one, let us improve it this way, so that we are able to save our livestock. The first one is hay baling. Government proposes that we need to expedite hay baling. But it is up to you farmers now to come in and say, where is the hay? How do we do the hay baling? If the bales are in the Marsh Central or in Marsh East, how do they come here? If we've got some grass in Mashingo, how does it reach here? So we want ideas from you farmers to say, already we have got over 1 million hay bales that have been cut, that are at various farms. But some farmers are selling the hay bales from their farms. Yet the hay bales are more needed in Marsh South than in Marsh West, than in Marsh East, where the bales are. So we want you as farmers to come up with these ideas. Yes, we want to expedite hay baling. The private sector, government, everyone. But how do we expedite it? The second one is silage making. Already from the previous presentation, we also heard something on that. How do we make that useful so that we are able to save our livestock? The third one is borehole drilling. Borehole drilling by government, borehole drilling by the private sector, by various organizations, by individual farmers, as we have heard from the previous presenter. As individual farmers, we've got a role to save our livestock. But as government, we have targeted that before end of this year, we should have done 10,000 new boreholes that have to be drilled. And to meet that target, we have said we are targeting at least 1,000 boreholes that have to be drilled every month. Now, where is the priority? The priority is in natural region 4 and 5. And the directive is that all the borehole drilling rigs by Zinwa or Rida, they have to move to natural regions 4 and 5 to make sure that we drill these boreholes and rehabilitate any boreholes. 4, water troughs at these borehole drilling sites. As individual farmers, as organizations, as private sector, let us have these water troughs at the sites. 5, control of field fires. We want to be very, very massive. This time around, we don't want to lose any grass. We need the grass to feed our livestock. We need the grass for mulching for the coming season for Mvudza. So we need to make any means to save the grass that we currently have. Further conservation, preservation, and improvement. How do we do that? 7, livestock drought mitigation task forces. Do we have local committees that are ready to action and save our livestock from village level if we're in the communal areas, at ward level if we're in the various sectors, at the district level? Do we have some task forces that bring all stakeholders and say, how do we save our livestock. Piping of water from dams or other water sources to some strategic areas, is that possible? How can we do that? If there is a dam which is 10 kilometers away, is it possible to pipe or take that water and make it be used somewhere else? Mobilization of water bowsers for strategic areas, can we do that? We saw in the last year when we lost some livestock in Mat South and Mat North. Is it possible to use these water bowsers and at least make sure that we avail water to our livestock? Urea treatment of stopper, drought mitigation awareness campaigns. Have we done enough to make sure that people know that we are in a drought and we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4? We need to seriously do this at all levels: government, private sector, various organizations, farmer unions. Let's talk about this. Let's say a lot about how do we mitigate and save our livestock. Relief grazing, already it has been highlighted in the previous presentation, as well as the issue of stock feeds. But we also talk of destocking. But our minister doesn't like this term, destocking. As if we destock only when we are in a drought situation. Yet this is something that we normally should even do to sell those non-productive livestock, even during normal situations. So terms like destocking, poverty deaths, they are a bit frightening, as if it's not a proper strategy that should be used. So can we use other terms? And MK, I think, find better terms to use than say, let's destock. Then it becomes like a bit frightening. Or we have recorded 4,000 poverty deaths. What's that? Can we come with another term which actually shows what it is? So these are some of the proposed mitigation measures which we want you in this endeavor to say, yes, this is workable. This one, let's improve it this way, so that eventually we come up with the best measures to keep our livestock. So ladies and gentlemen, may I conclude by thanking all collaborators in this event for their valuable contribution in making this day successful. Once again, my special thanks to the organizers of the event for inviting me to officiate this occasion. It is my expectation that the participants will freely engage and contribute to the discussions to be followed. All present, with these remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I declare the agricultural endeavor officially open and wish you success.